Hey guys, it's Dooley Squatch back here with another monster at the request of my youngest. But mostly we'll just have story time. I don't know. Check in with everyone. But let's get it going. Here we go. So this week, had a lot of fun. Went to see, Star Wars Episode 3. It was currently re-released in the theaters. Came out 20 years ago. That's pretty wild. It was the only one I hadn't seen in the theaters personally. My coworker, who I'm sure he'll come up a lot, he commissions a whole lot of stuff from me and always has really fun ideas. But he is really into Star Wars. Really into Star Wars. So he got a big group of us together to all go see it, and it was really fun. And I was very proud of the crowd. What with all the Minecraft movie stuff going on, I was concerned that the crowd would do something stupid. I don't know. Trying to think of when would be the perfect moment, but I'm glad it didn't happen. People clapped and cheered. That was good. But nobody shouting anything, nobody throwing popcorn, anything like that. So that was nice. It was kind of fun watching it again. Seeing kind of the aged CGI and just that corny acting. But regardless, I still enjoyed it. It was a good flick. Good example of hubris and how that you fall as far as you set yourself up. I don't know. You think it's like Anakin if you just use your noggin for a little bit. I don't think killing all these people. I'd say mostly when he offs the younglings, it's like, how is this at all saving Padme? I don't. But then again, it's a movie. It's not real. Who knows? But it was still enjoyable to see. And after that, we had tacos, and then we went and saw another movie. We saw Sinners with Michael B. Jordan and all those other fun people. But it was an interesting movie. It was a period piece. It was in the 30s during Jim Crow, and it's about these guys wanting to open up a juke joint, and the sort of underlying story is there's these people so talented with music that they can conjure up the spirits of the past and the future, and those people can also catch the attention of darker forces, and that's where they introduce vampires. And so there was a lot of elements that got introduced, but not many of them were followed through. I still enjoyed the movie. I'd give it a good 7 out of 10. But yeah, I don't know. It fell short. There was a lot of a lot of unnecessary things in it that just sort of pulled me out of it. But it was enjoyable enough. It was fun enough. I had a good time. Well, yeah, it's not often I get to go hang out with coworkers or just hang out with anyone, honestly, and just sort of spend a day just doing nothing, or just doing fun stuff. So that was fun. And then last night, my daughter and I went to a concert. It was her first concert. Last year, I took her brother to an Electric Callboy concert. That was his first concert, and we had a blast. It was very wild and rowdy and crazy, and and got to see circle pits and crowd surfing and all that, and it was just a good overall experience. So this year my daughter wanted to go to a show, and the band she picked was a band called Half Alive. I'd never heard of them, and my daughter listens to a lot of very indie, and feels like a lot of it is, there's a lot of ukuleles in it. I don't know how to best describe it, but I went to the show with her, assuming it's like she's gonna have a good time. I'm just there, and I ended up having a good time. It was kind of interesting being at a concert that was fairly mellow, high energy, but not like violent energy, and the bands were really cool. The artists were all very gracious and thankful, very nice. Messages were good, and the music was nice. I genuinely had a good time. It was quite fun. Makes me think of my first concert experience. So way back in the days of yore, I went to the final show of the Meteora tour for Linkin Park. It was in Inglewood, California, and big stadium show, and our seats were smack dab on the other side of the arena. So when I say they were, the band and they were all about as big as my thumbnail, to my perspective. They were so small, but it was my first concert ever. It's the first time I'd been, within, a mile of an actual music show, seeing, a band that I really loved. And it was still a good experience. It was so loud. I've gotten into the habit of going to concerts with a little bit of cotton in my ear. I don't care if they make fun of me for it, because I really don't want to be hard of hearing when I'm older. All my grandpas had hearing aids, and it was always hard talking to them. Good grief. So the show was Taking Back Sunday, Hoobastank. Oh gosh, what are they called? POD and Linkin Park. So all bands that I enjoyed, all things I listened to. It was, the show went on and on. You got that many bands playing it. It was a long show. And the thing about concerts is, there's seats, but no one stays in them. You stand. Everyone's standing. I can never understand that. I don't know. When you're all seated, you can still see, and yet it's kind of the norm to stand up in your seat, which is nuts. I don't know. I like shows that I've gone to where staying seated was expected. When I saw Pussifer at they were performing at a local theater. So not a concert venue, but it was a theater. So everyone stayed seated and just enjoyed the music. It was great. No one was pulling their phones out trying to record the thing. They were just there in the moment, recording it with your eyes. And that was kind of the I guess lesson I was trying to impart to my daughter. She took her phone out to take pictures and recorded some video, and after she'd done it a few times, I kind of tapped her. I'm like, hey, put your phone away. You're here right now. You're here. And she said, I was my friends that couldn't make it to the show just wanted me to send them some video or a clip of a song they like. So I get that. But it was a great time. And I'd say that's probably the takeaway today. The object of my video is talking about experiences and you experience them. Being present is a rare commodity now, especially younger folks. That they seem to experience life secondhand through their phone, constantly recording stuff, or and I get it, making memories, that's important, but you also want to make them in your head. It certainly is a good exercise when you get older to try and remember things. That way you're not stuck just telling the same joke over and over when you see people. Being able to even little things, just to stop and think, this is a fun memory. This will make for a fond memory, thinking back on it. And I think, doing that and being in that mindset definitely helps me, helps that memory, that time, the time spent, makes it feel like it's, longer. It doesn't just fly by and then you're like, wow, where'd the night go? Or, what happened? I guess I'll look at my phone, but if you're there and you're present and you're in the moment and, you're experiencing it as it happens, I think it's a lot more fulfilling. And that's been my experience as of late, with the kind of, death of cameras and camcorders and the things that we would sort of use with that express purpose, and it being replaced with the cell phone, which is just kind of always at our hip. And, we take pictures, but to whom do we show them? If you don't have social media, who are you showing these pictures to? Me, I back them up on my computer, and it's kind of fun to look back on them and reminisce. Well, yeah. So, that's that's my diatribe for the day. Here's my monster. It's another one that my boy Ivan requested. I had a lot of fun with the colors on this one and shapes of teeth. Getting those teeth kind of odd shaped and not exactly sharp. Yeah, thanks for joining me on this journey. And like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think, or if you have any questions or ideas, stuff I could draw. Thinking about possibly starting to do like YouTube lives where I'll be doodling and people can hop in and comment or ask questions, that sort of thing. Thinking maybe Tuesdays. That's usually when I have most time. Anywho, let me know your thoughts, and thanks for joining me. Okay, bye.